From the NewsChannel 5 Network and Out and About newspaper, this is Out and About Today. Sponsored by the Tennessee Performing Arts Center.
Good evening and welcome to Out and About Today. I'm Pam Wheeler. On tonight's show, Chuck will preview Big Brothers Big Sisters Inclusion Program. But first, we get started with our weekly Buzz About discussion. Tonight's topic, the seven LGBT candidates running in Metro Council races in August. I'm joined by my co-host, Brennan Chuck. Welcome, guys. Let's talk about this. It's pretty amazing.
It really is.
It's historic.
It is.
Slate of candidates. We have seven. Just a quick history. I'm sure you guys remember this. Maybe our viewers don't. In 2007, we elected the first gay Metro Councilman, Keith Durbin. And then Nancy Van Rees and Bret Withers were elected in 2015. Nancy was the first lesbian elected to an official office. I know I'm talking a lot, but I want to set the stage because it's a big deal. It doesn't happen all the time.
It is a big deal.
So we have seven. One of the tools that some gay candidates use is trying to get the support of the Victory Fund. The Victory Fund's mission is to get GLBT folks at the table in all different types of offices, from council to school board. It can be anything. And we have three candidates that have already received that endorsement. The first three we talk about, Nancy, Bret, and Zach. And the others are going to try to get that endorsement. It can mean money, it can mean email alerts, right? It's
training, I believe.
Training.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'm really not familiar with of course, the Victory Fund, but what it takes to get the endorsement.
Right, so you do not have to go through the candidate training. You have to apply. I do sit on the board. I'm not the most schooled in it. But you do have to be viable. So if you don't have a chance for a lot of reasons, say you're running against an incumbent, you may not get the support because they have a huge success rate. It's not just being GLBT,
right,
of course. So there's an application process, an interview process. And then the board itself votes on supporting these candidates. So we listen to phone calls where people, like we would give the backing of Nancy here, we would say this is why we need to back her. Okay? So
the vetting process is very thorough. That's great.
It is.
Yeah, and they don't waste time on anyone who's not viable. That's the point. You know?
Right.
It's not that they don't. They may be a good candidate, but if they're not viable.
Right, and it is important because I remember some candidates we haven't supported. They've been upset, but there is a lot of thought that goes into it.
Yeah.
So first we're going to talk about Nancy Van Rees. Her picture came up.
Oh, there
it's
she
back
is.
up. She's a friend of all of us, and she's a friend of the show. She is the incumbent, and Nancy really listened to her people, her constituents.
Say that 3 times fast.
And she's got a lot accomplished. We've got a sheet here on Nancy. She has renovated Oakwood Park, $1 million investment, expanded trash and recycling services. She has helped install 977 new streetlights. I mean, that seems like
major. In the Madison area.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is from having conversations with people. Nancy's a big, she's going to have a conversation with you and listen.
She really is.
And she is the Inglewood, Madison area. That's her area.
She's District 8. Yeah. She's mostly up in the Madison area.
And it's important to say, of course, we know that our viewers can't vote for all these candidates, right? Because each district is maybe 20,000, 17,000, 25, something like that. You're only voting in your neighborhood, but you can give time and give money. And
if you don't know your council district, you can go to the Metro Council website and type in your address, and it'll tell you which district you're in. Pretty quick and easy.
And to me, and Nancy's also, she has been a great example of what you can do. She, for one, she's an enthusiastic, warm, charismatic person. She was a great candidate.
Yeah.
She was she's great at what she does. And I feel like she's probably one of the most popular of all of them.
Well, and she's done so much before this. So she actually wrote for Out and About Nashville when I was the editor. She was the arts editor, wrote a lot about art and what was going on. And she's also an artist herself. She paints and does a lot of different things. So she's got a nice sort of mixture of right and left brain, if you will. And she can get things done, but she can also have a good time doing it. And doesn't take no for an answer a lot of times either. I mean, she's really good at getting things done.
Right. And it's important to say we don't know, I don't think I said this, what these candidates, who they will face, because
Correct.
we're taping before the deadline to know who's in the race with them. I just want to say a couple things about, I mean, the list of things she's accomplished. To develop a sense of place, she changed several street names to Skyline Ridge Boulevard, Inspiration Boulevard. There's some artistry in there, right?
Yeah.
She completed the Madison Library. A vote for Nancy in 2019 will mean development will continue to happen for us and not to us.
Yeah.
That's a theme with all these candidates, right? So many things are happening in our growing city, and you want to be a part of it in your little neighborhood, not just a new stadium.
Yeah,
right?
And I found it really important, like even in the area that I live off Murphy Road in West End, and you know, as they build more and more, I mean, every place in Nashville is like that. But you realize when you have these meetings and these developments come in there, it's also really important that you have an ally on the council, because you know, big business comes in and they're like, we're going to build this, you know, 30-story high-rise in your neighborhood. It's going to change your traffic flow. It's going to add traffic, all these things. And if you don't have a council person who has your best interest at heart, it really is damaging.
Right, and to speak to that point, let's move on to Bret Withers.
Yeah.
He's my council person. I love Bret because he does fight for you. He does listen. He responds to email. There's Bret. I see him at community events, small and large. He will respond when Susie and I were talking about, are we getting sidewalks? What's the plan in East Nashville? Because you know there's a lot of non-sidewalk streets. He didn't just write us back. He gave us so much information. If you go to his Twitter page, which is just at Bret A. Withers, he is constantly giving updates on public works projects, on city controversies, like anything.
He'll live tweet from council meetings.
Right, he's available, and that is so important. I can't speak more highly about him. And
he also got the left-hand turn signal on West Eastland off of Gallatin Road, and I have to give him credit for that because that deserves some applause.
And he got the signal at Jenny's Ice Cream, which is also busy. Okay, we've got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to cover the other. We've got 5 more candidates to talk about, so stay with us.